Hello everyone, today is 20th of October. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Now guys, first of all, let's have the quote for today's GS folder. So today we'll take the quote from the Nelson Mandela, winner of the Nobel Peace Prize and the person who fought for the anti-apartheid. He says, for to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. So he says that the true emancipation will not only come when you secure your own freedom, rather, actively, you need to make sure that you also respect others' freedom, their viewpoints. So, guys, this particular quote we can utilize into GS paper number 4 as well as into the topics of the essay. So, guys, that's it for today's GS folder, and now let's take the newspaper analysis. Guys, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper first. Now guys, here we can see that the pandals which will be there erected into the Durga Puja, they will be the no entry zones due to the limitations of social distancing by the COVID-19. Now guys, here we can see that it has been said that the Citizenship Amendment Act will be executed soon. It was just postponed due to the pandemic. However guys, some very relevant UPSC specific news has not been given here. So guys, because such kind of things are not there, I will be taking certain articles from the Indian Express newspaper which are very important. Guys, here the Prime Minister had said that the new digital health ID will be used for the COVID immunization. So we will see this entire program. After that, guys, here we can see that the expenditure limit has been increased by 10%. So, guys, we will be seeing this entire issue. Then, guys, moving forward with this particular thing, guys, here we can see that the Assam Mizoram boundary dispute has been mentioned. So, this particular thing we'll be seeing into the light of the GS paper number 1. Now guys, as we'll be moving directly to the editorial section. Now guys, this particular editorial talks about the pandemic numbers. Guys, not at all important because these estimates will be changing very soon. Now guys, this article talks about the polarization that has been caused into the society. Guys, with respect to some factual information, substance has not been provided, but guys, do read it because the writing style has been very good. Then guys, this article talks about the Andhra Pradesh judicial tussle which is going on. However guys, already in last 2 days we had seen this particular issue. Then guys, this article talks about the NEET challenge. We'll be seeing this thing. Then guys, this article talks about the Bihar elections that are going on. Guys, not at all needed for our exam. Guys, this article talks about the fight for the HIV. We'll be seeing this. Then guys, along with the editorials of the Hindu newspaper, I will also be taking one very good article which has been carried into the Indian Express. This article has been written by the C. Raja Mohan and it is talking about the recent IMF's WEO. Guys, then moving forward, so into the regional section again, much of the political news has been carried. Now, guys, as we are moving, the Prime Minister has addressed that India is having the robust vaccine delivery system. Then guys, moving forward, here we can see that the Australia will be participating into the Malabar naval exercise. Finally, the decision has been taken into this particular direction. After that guys, here you can see that the Prime Minister has made an address that the nature of jobs is changing. So with respect to the UPSC, we'll be taking a reference here. Then guys, the next is the showcase page, not important for our exam. Then onto the world's page also, much important news is not there. Guys, news with respect to the elections into the USA has been mentioned here. Now guys, here the Bolivian vote has been mentioned. After that guys, into the business page, here you can see that the China's GDP is now resurgent and 4.9% growth rate is expected. However guys, we don't need to go into the specific details because such data is subject to change. Now guys, here the finance ministry had said that the GDP estimate will be released very soon. Then guys, the next is the sports page. However, only the IPL news has been there. So that's it. And now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail. Now guys, this first article I had taken from the Indian Express newspaper. It is talking about the COVID immunization plan of the government of India. Now guys, we have seen that the COVID-19 cases are reaching above 75 lakh and there is active vaccine development also going on into India. On that particular front, Serum Institute will be making the vaccine developed by the Oxford University as well as the one which is being licensed by the AstraZeneca. Then guys, the Bharat Biotech is also working on to the vaccine, and then the Sputnik 5, the Russian vaccine, the Drug Controller General of India had also given approval to that for the testing in India. Now, guys, if any of one vaccine is successful by the end of the December or into the first quarter of 2021, how it is to be administered, that remains a challenge. Into this particular thing, the Prime Minister had said that the health ID will be utilized for this particular purpose. Now, guys, what is this health ID? So, it was announced by the Prime Minister on its address on 15th of August, where he announced the National Digital Health Mission. Now, to make it more clear, I will be giving you some background also. See, in 2017, government announced the National Health Policy. And under the national health policy, large number of things were taken. For example, the expenditure onto the health as a part of GDP will be increased. Moreover, guys, there it was said that a digital health ecosystem will be established into the country so that the health of people can be tracked, more proper response can be given. And as a part of this particular thing, this National Digital Health Mission is being announced. Now, guys, within this particular mission, there are certain components. For example, there will be a health ID, which will be a unique identification given to all the citizens. Then there will be the personalized health records, which will be stored into a digital database, and that database can be accessed by this particular health ID. After that, guys, there will be the facility of DigiDoctor. Into DigiDoctor, onto this portal, the doctors voluntarily can enroll, can provide their contact information, and can also provide the prescription to the people. After that, there is the health facility registry. Now, guys, this is the phase 1 of the National Digital Health Mission, and into the later phases, the things such as the telemedicine will also be added into the National Digital Health Mission. Now, guys, this particular thing is being implemented by the National Health Authority, and the National Health Authority is the same which also implements the Ayushman Bharat Abhiyan, where the citizens are given the assistance of up to 5 lakh rupees to get treatment into the secondary and tertiary care centers. Now, guys, under this particular health ID, people will be identified and the vaccine will be administered to them. So, guys, this is all about this particular news item, and now we'll move to the next. Now, friends, this particular article has been taken from the Indian Express newspaper, and it talks about the recent hike into the poll expenditure that has been allowed. And it is important for our GS paper number 2 under the topic of elections. Now, guys, just to give you some background, election expenditure into the parliamentary election as well as assembly election is capped at a certain amount. You cannot spend beyond that particular limitation. However, guys, right now we are seeing that the times of the pandemic are going on, and here conducting the election will be little bit expensive because the campaigning via social media, by maintaining the adequate social distancing norms, providing the protective gear to the people who are attending the rallies and all these things, it requires money. So in this particular direction, the Election Commission of India few days back had recommended the center government that they should allow the expansion into the expenditure hike limit by 10%. And guys, now finally the center government has approved that particular recommendation. Now, in India, guys, the election limit, the expenditure limit has been provided into the Conduct of Election Rules 1961. And within this, rule number 90 specifically talks about the expenditure limit. And center had amended this rule number 90. Now, guys, this particular thing can only be done after the approval from the Ministry of the Law. Guys, here you need to keep it in mind that Election Commission of India is not having the power, Ministry of Law is having power. Now, guys, just to give you some perspective over the expenditure limit. Now, guys, see, there could be the assembly elections, there could be the parliamentary elections. Now, for the assembly elections, the actual limit is varying from state to state. However, guys, there are majorly two expenditure limits. One is 28 lakh rupees and other is 20 lakh rupees. The bigger states into their assembly elections, maximum of 28 lakh rupees can be spent. And right now, 20 states and the union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Delhi, their assembly elections have this particular limitation. Now, after this 10% hike, their limit will increase to 30.8 lakh rupees. Now, guys, whereas some smaller states, there are 8 such states and the union territory of Puducherry, their assembly elections limit is 20 lakh rupees, and now after this 10% hike, it will turn to 22 lakh rupees. So this was about the assembly elections. Now guys, talking about the parliamentary elections, so into them there are again two limits. One is 70 lakh rupees and other is 54 lakh rupees. So 70 lakh rupees is for the bigger states and 54 lakh is for the smaller states. Now this 70 lakh rupees limit will increase to 77 lakh and 54 lakh will increase to 59 lakh rupees. So these will be the new limits. Now guys, moving beyond this particular thing, see, according to the present notification, it is not clearly known that whether this enhanced limit is only for the times of the pandemic or will it be continuing indefinitely. However, if this particular clarification will come, we'll again be seeing this particular thing. Now, some more developments have also taken place. Guys, Election Commission of India had asked the political parties that they need to specifically furnish the expenditure that they are now committing onto the social media. That is the money that has been paid for the advertising, the money that has been paid to the people who are handling the social media, and all these kind of things, which according to me was most needed, because right now the elections have turned into the digital sphere. So this particular thing was needed. Now further, friends, as there is a limit, so this particular limits account has also to be given, and within 30 days of the declaration of the result, the contestants, they have to furnish that how much expenditure actually they have conducted. And guys, into this particular thing, if there is any failure to furnish such details, then it is the violation of the conduct of election rules, and it amounts to the corrupt practices under the section number 123 of the Representation of People Act 1951. This particular point is very much important because in GS paper number 2, RPA has been explicitly provided. So guys, this is all the issues much beyond the scope of the article we have discussed, which could be highly important for our exams. So that's it. Please do note it down. And now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular news also I have taken from the Indian Express, and it will be utilizable for our GS paper number 1, where the topic of regionalism has been mentioned, as well as in GS paper number 3, internal security also some of the implications could be there. Now guys, from past few days there is the issue going on, that is the Assam versus Mizoram, where onto the boundary some violences have been observed. Now, what is this entire issue that we will be tracing up here? Now, guys, see, the violence between the Assam and Mizoram is not that uncommon. Earlier in 2018 also there was the violence, and guys, in last 25 to 30 years many such instances have been there. So guys, what is the issue here? See, if you focus here, this is the map of the northeast India, and here we can see that this is blue one is the Assam. Guys, here you can see that the Mizoram is there, this pink one, and this is the boundary between the Assam and the Mizoram. So basically this is the point where the conflict is emerging. Why the conflict is emerging, we need to go little bit into the background. Now guys, into the colonial times, Assam was actually a very big state, and Assam included the Meghalaya, it included Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, as well as it included the Mizoram. Now, guys, as these separate states have been formed, there are some unsolved boundary disputes which have stayed. And, guys, if I give you the bigger picture, actually, it is not only the Mizoram with which Assam is having the dispute, all the other states which have been separated from the Assam, they are having some disputes on one or the other section. But, however, today the topic is Assam Mizoram, so we will be sticking here only. Now, guys, into this entire dispute, two dates are important. One is the 1875 and other is the 1933. So what happened? In 1875, the Britishers said that the Lushai Hills as well as the Chachar Plains, they will be differentiated. Now, guys, the Lushai Hills belongs to Mizoram, and Chachar Plain, it belonged to Assam. So a kind of a political division was suggested in 1875, and here some notification was also issued where the prospective boundary was also suggested. However, guys, for so many years nobody talked on to this particular thing, and guys, suddenly in 1933, Britishers actually defined the boundary between the Lushai Hills and the Chachar Plains. Now, the Assam, it recognizes this 1933 demarcation, but the Mizo society, it doesn't recognizes this because according to them, they were not consulted into this particular mechanism, and they say that we still recognize the 1875 notification. Now, guys, this 1875 notification was based on the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation of 1873, and according to the Mizo people, this is more legitimate kind of document. Now, guys, so what happened? It is just like this. Suppose onto the north side there is Assam, onto the south side, suppose it is Mizoram. Now, this particular region is disputed. So, guys, as in 1980, the Mizoram turned into a separate state, this particular dispute become even more problematic and the violences started to erupt. So, what happened? As a kind of a agreement, it was decided that this particular region, it will be converted into the no man's land, and the status quo will be observed, that nobody will be interfering into this particular region. Now, guys, over and over period of time, what happens? Either sometime Assamese people or sometime Mizo people, they construct some hut here, somebody construct some building here, somebody makes a plantation, and because of that particular thing, the other side attacks, and then there are counter attacks. Guys, this particular thing also happened this particular time also, where it is being alleged that certain people from the Mizoram had constructed some establishments here. However, guys, this particular account has been talked differently by different parties. We are not actually interested in what happened. We need to see the concept or the bone of contention, because that is more important for our UPSC exam. So, guys, this is the entire contention. And, guys, this particular thing can be important for our GS paper number 1, regionalism, where even till today, the notions of the state and the notions of region are more important than the notion of the shared national identity. So, guys, that's it. Now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is important for our GS paper number 2 under the topic of health. Now, it is talking about the fight for the HIV/AIDS. Now, guys, just recently, the 2019 estimates for the HIV has been released by the National AIDS Control Organization and the US AIDS. According to it, much relief has been gained, as 66.1% less new infections of HIV/AIDS are being seen into the child, as well as 65.5% less deaths are there into the last 9 years. And, guys, all this thing happened at the time when the testing with the AIDS has also been increased. So, this is something very good which has been achieved by the NACO. Now, guys, into the AIDS, mother to child transmission is a very big concern, because many a times the children, they get the AIDS by their mother. And into this particular direction, since 2002, the government is running the elimination of the mother to child transmission program. Now, guys, in last 10 years, that is from 2010 to 2019, due to this elimination of mother to child transmission program, considerable progress has been achieved, and this particular thing we can see into these datas. Now, guys, this thing was not easy for the government. It was a monumental task, because every year there are more than 30 million pregnancies into India. And in this direction, the agencies such as the UNICEF, WHO, NACO, all they come together. They identified the high burden districts in India, and they were given the proper resources, proper counseling was done. Now, guys, how actually this particular thing was done, we'll be seeing it here directly into the article. So, this entire thing was done through the educating the people with respect to AIDS, communication programs. After that, increased access to the HIV services was done there, innovative delivery mechanisms for the HIV testing. For example, guys, the community testing was done, partner based testing were done, index testing. So, these are the ways of the testing. Much innovation was used here. After that, guys, counseling and care and treatment follow ups were also given. Basically, AIDS is also a taboo in India, so that counseling was very much needed. Then, guys, India also made the HIV testing free for all the pregnant women, and into the same direction, the women which are suffering with the AIDS, their treatment was also made free. Now, guys, into this particular direction, India achieved so much of progress and the numbers came considerably down. Now, guys, 2020 December was the deadline to eliminate the mother to child transmission of the AIDS, and since 2019 government had made this entire process very much fast tracked. Now, though benefits have been achieved, but guys, still there is a very long way to go, and India is aiming that at least by 2030, when the SDG goals date will expire, till then the entire mother to child elimination of the AIDS should be done. So guys, government should not be complacent. The organization should keep their focus, and the present pandemic and the diversion of the health resources should not be a deterrent into the fight for the AIDS. So guys, this is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next. Now, friends, this particular article has been taken from the Indian Express newspaper, a very good article which has been written by the C. Rajamohan. Now, the article is talking about a recent issue. Now, guys, if you are active, then the IMF had announced their World Economic Outlook report. Even we have taken it over into the analysis. Now, under that, IMF had projected that Bangladesh's per capita GDP will overtake India by the end of this year. Now, guys, yeah, the overtake is a very minimal only, but that particular thing had attracted a large number of criticism. The political parties, they had targeted the ruling political party. There are people who are condemning this entire data. They are calling that the projection is entirely wrong and such kind of things. However, we are not needed to go into that thing. Now, it has been said that this is actually a good thing, and we should look at a bigger picture. We should not only be subdued by that comparison that Bangladesh is overtaking, rather, some other trends have to be identified. There are five trends which are emerging here. Now, guys, first of all, it has been said that for so long, the global mental map of South Asia is characterized by only two countries, that is the India and Pakistan. And guys, most of the time, Pakistan had projected the South Asia into a very bad light due to its nuclear weapons, its interference into the Afghanistan, its support to the Taliban, and a cozy relationship that it has maintained with the terrorism as a whole. And now it has been said, guys, that this attention from Pakistan will be shifted to a emerging Bangladesh model, and because of this particular thing, the mental map of the South Asia will be improved. Then, guys, the next thing it has been said, it is that now what is happening, the economic equations are changing. Now, here some data have been given. See, it is said that in 2020 the Bangladesh's economy will be $320 billion. So their GDP will going up to this particular level. Now, for 2020, the numbers for the Pakistan are not there. But guys, in 2019, Pakistan's GDP was $275 billion, and this year it has been said that it will further contract because of the pandemic. So, guys, here we can see that a substantial gap between the Bangladesh and Pakistan has been created, and Bangladesh has overtaken the Pakistan. Now, at the time of Bangladesh liberation, this gap was very much huge into the favor of Pakistan, but now the equations are changing, and because of that particular thing, now the Bangladesh will be a meaningful partner with which India can negotiate, which India can interact. Further, guys, it has been said that often into India's neighborhood we had seen that the regional forums are nearly dead, guys, because of the insistence of the Pakistan. SARC as a organization is in coma, virtually it is paralyzed. And now, as Bangladesh is becoming resurgent, we can play a constructive role with Bangladesh into the BBIN project, that is Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal. And guys, by working on to this BBIN rather than into the SARC, our Act East policy will also be promoted. Then, guys, the fourth advantage that will be coming is that now the USA will also be inclined towards the Bangladesh. Now, guys, just last week, the USA's Secretary of State, he visited Delhi, and always the trend was such that after visiting Delhi, he would be heading to the Rawalpindi. But this year, he traveled to Dhaka, and this particular thing shows that a new geopolitical identity will be emerging, and here India can collaborate with the Bangladesh, and into the Indo-Pacific region, into the Indian Ocean region, they can become a meaningful power combined. After that, guys, the fifth advantage that will be coming is that as Bangladesh's economy is improving, now Bangladesh can integrate with the West Bengal, East India, and the Northeast. The infrastructural projects can be made, connectivity can be established into both of them, and all will be benefiting. However, guys, there are certain challenges also in this particular regard. What are the challenges? Challenges are the regional politics. Guys, often into the case of the Punjab, it has been said that though at many a times the West Punjab wants to integrate with the Pakistan, but the East Punjab has a problem with that thing. Now, guys, similarly, the West Bengal's government is not maintaining the cozy relationships with the Bangladesh, and it has often talked that the interest of the Bangladesh and West Bengal are very much divergent. So we need to bring Kolkata onto the board. And secondly, the Assam also is not maintaining a very good relation with the Bangladesh, because guys, Assam has a problem of the migrant issue. So Assam had often ridiculed Bangladesh by calling the Bangladeshi migrant problem as a nuisance. So these two things have to be brought onto the board. Now, guys, not only at the regional level or the state level there is a problem, but guys, India's central leadership also needs to be very much careful. For example, guys, in 2015, the land boundary agreement was signed with the Bangladesh, due to which the relations improved to a considerable stretch. But guys, all that achievement has been reversed when the Citizenship Amendment Act was passed. Now, guys, because of this particular thing, much kind of irritants have been there, and now the government needs to play very much strategically, because the question is not that who is overpowering whom, but the question is that anyhow Bangladesh will be becoming a resurgent economy into the times to come. So therefore, much responsibly we have to tread. So that's all about this particular article. Now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about the recently concluded the NEET examination, its result which has come. Now, guys, it is talking more about the education into the medical stream. Now, guys, first of all, when we talk about the NEET, it is a common examination for the medical admissions. And guys, the NEET has often been criticized. Firstly, it was being criticized by the states because the states wanted a flexibility into this. They didn't wanted a one size fit all exam, because there are certain concerns. We'll be seeing this. Now, guys, latest NEET was being kind of challenged because of the pandemic that was going on. It was said that the exam should be cancelled, but the exam was anyhow being conducted. Now, it was criticized that the authorities have not considered the lowest common denominator. Lowest common denominator means that there are certain people who live into such kind of areas where the travel is not possible, they can't afford the travel right now, there are economic limitations of the people, so that least common denominator was not factored. And guys, this particular thing was also called as the anti-democratic. Now, guys, though the exam has been concluded, the result has finally come, so we have to move on from this particular thing. Now, guys, at the end of the day, NEET should be accepted because it is talking more about the standardization of the exam into the medical education, and particularly medicine is a discipline where the standardization and highest standards are the priority. Now, I told you that the states were earlier opposed to this particular idea. Why? Guys, they were opposed because the states have different syllabus, they have different board, they have different grading system, and states were saying that if a common exam will come, then guys, their states will not be able to adjust with that common standard, because right now their standards are different, and in this particular capacity the poor students will be the one who will be the most disadvantaged, because they cannot afford the expensive coachings and such kind of resources by which they get streamlined. Now, guys, it has been said that states now need to take steps into this particular direction, that the need will be norm, but along with it they need to streamline how they can do. So first of all, the states can explore the state sponsored coaching model, where the disadvantaged people should be provided the extra classes so that they can compete into the NEET. Then guys, reassessment of the syllabus needs to be done at the state level, and they need to align their state syllabus so that it can be reflective of the present time and the students are more comfortable when giving the NEET examination. Then guys, it has been said that the exorbitant fees which is being taken by the coaching institutes, that also needs to be regularized, so that if the poor people want to take the coaching, it is not very much unaffordable for them. And fourthly, it has been said that this entire matter should not be unduly politicized, and political parties should not take undue advantage of this thing. Rather, some common ground is needed to be identified. So guys, all this particular thing with respect to the medical education has been talked about in this particular article. Now guys, as we talk about the topic of education, there is higher education, so there we will be utilizing. So that's it. Now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article, it was an address by the Prime Minister. Now here into the article, nothing much important has been given, but guys, one key phrase has been utilized which we can directly utilize in our answers where we are talking about the skill development. And guys, using such kind of expression gives you very much brownie points. Now guys, Prime Minister has used a phrase that is skill, reskill and upskill. It is the need of the 21st century, and into the times of pandemic it is much needed, it has been said by the Prime Minister. Moreover, it has been said that the new education policy of 2020 which has been announced, it will also be helping in all these three parameters. Further, the Prime Minister had said that the student should adapt with the new realities, they should identify that what are their talents, there are potentials, and according to them they should pursue their education, their skill development and all these kind of things. So guys, just this particular phrase is important here, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article, it is talking about the recent decision that has been taken by India to include the Australia into the Malabar naval exercise. Now guys, many a times earlier we have discussed this particular issue where we were exploring that whether this thing will happen or not. Now, as we talk about Malabar, so guys, Malabar is a trilateral naval exercise, and now the 2020 version of this trilateral naval exercise is going to be concluded. Now, into this, the USA, Japan, and India are participating. Now, guys, since long, actually, to counter the China, it was being said that the Malabar should also include the Australia. Now, guys, Australia is already the member of the Quad grouping where these three plus Australia are there. Now, when we are talking about the Quad was a regional forum which was whose idea was first time was explored by the Shinzo Abe. Now guys, Shinzo Abe was of a view that an arc of democracy needs to be made, and this arc of democracy was systematically aligned against the China because China is not a democracy. And thus guys, Quad happened to be a strategic forum, but military inclination was not there into the Quad. Now, as members of Malabar and Quad are exactly same, only Australia is not there into the Malabar. So guys, it has been said that include Australia also into the Malabar. Now what will happen, this particular thing will actually lead to the militarization of Quad, because guys, earlier they were strategically aligned, now into a military naval exercise they will also be aligned, and therefore they can counter the interest with the China. Now guys, just a few days back this particular issue was again erupted that whether the Australia will be included or not. At that point of time, the Ministry of External Affairs said that for right now they are not thinking to actually include the Australia because that particular thing might unnecessarily irritate the China. But now guys, as it has been said that the China's stance into the LAC is not becoming softened, so guys, now India had probably taken this particular step. Now guys, this particular thing will be having certain implications, and that thing we have to see that how China will respond, and as it will be coming, we'll be seeing it into our newspaper analysis. Now guys, one more thing, that this year's Malabar naval exercise, it is scheduled to held in November, and this year it will be into the no contact format. So guys, that's all about this particular issue. Much beyond this particular scope of this article, we have seen it. So guys, that's all for today's newspaper analysis. I hope you are liking our video, and guys, as I say every day, please do attempt the MCQ questions which we give onto the Telegram, so that you are also revising the things. So these MCQs are from the previous day's coverage. So guys, that's all for today's newspaper analysis. Thank you so much.